On April 10th, our father, Orenthal James Simpson, passed away after a battle with cancer. During this difficult period, his family asks you to respect their wishes for privacy. The official statement from the deceased's relatives reads, "Simpson was an iconic figure for America. He was called the first black athlete to achieve status and recognition in the United States on a par with whites. Having realized himself not only in sports, but also in cinema, he became the personification of the realization of the American dream for representatives of the poorest strata." But all this was overshadowed by the criminal history that overshadowed the last decades of his life. He was born on July 9, 1947 in San Francisco, in one of the poor neighborhoods inhabited mainly by blacks. In Oriental James's youth, segregation in the United States was considered normal, and there were few ways for people like him to break through. One of them was sports. Simpson became interested in America's main sports religion, American football, and trained to the point of frenzy. Studying at college and university became possible for him because the coaches saw in him a nugget who could turn into a star of the first magnitude. In the University League, the guy from the University of Southern California team, nicknamed Juice, was out of the competition. For 2 years in a row, in 1960, 7, and 68, he was recognized as the best player in the league. The smiling black guy became a favorite of fans and journalists. In 1969, he was expected to be selected at number 1 in the NFL draft, the Major League of American Football. Simpson becomes a player for the Buffalo Bills. The next decade became the decade of O.J. Simpson, not only in American football, but in American sports in general. Even at the height of his career, he began acting in television shows and Hollywood films. He played an astronaut in the acclaimed conspiracy film Capricorn 1 and a secret Interpol agent in the action film Cassandra's Pass. But most of all, he was remembered by the audience for the role of Detective Nordberg in the comedy trilogy Naked Gun, where he shone together with Leslie Nielsen. After separating from his first wife, Margaret Willey, he married former waitress Nicole Brown. There were much more passions in the second marriage. They quarreled and threw themselves into each other's arms again to feel an incredible surge of adoration. But in the end, Nicole got tired of it, and in 1992, they divorced. Despite this, O.J. continued to be consumed by jealousy. On June 12, 1994, Nicole's neighbor noticed her dog barking, and later, Nicole and her friend Ronald Goldman were discovered. Police found evidence linking Simpson to the crime, including blood-stained footprints. A warrant for his arrest was soon issued, and Simpson became the target of a media scandal, hiding from the police, which was broadcast live. Simpson's lawyers were able to shift the focus of the case to controversial issues related to racial prejudice. In 1995, the court found him innocent, which caused a wide public outcry and various reactions throughout the country. America was split. While some rejoiced, others considered what had happened a mockery of justice. Enraged relatives filed a lawsuit in a civil court, and in 1997, he ruled that Simpson was guilty and was sentenced to pay $33 million. Simpson regained his freedom, but not his old life. The movie roles were left behind, and in general, they tried to stay away from him. He was severely punished for any minor offense. In the fall of 2000, O.J. Simpson was arrested for an armed incident in Las Vegas. Simpson himself claimed that it was about his awards, which turned out to be dishonestly acquired by the collector. But in fact, Simpson had previously sold his awards himself in order to cover at least some of his debts and receive some funds for current expenses. And among the stolen items from the collector, only 2 or 3 used to belong to O.J. Simpson, and his accomplices were arrested. After learning that the noble impulse in OJ's actions was just a cover, the accomplices made a deal with the investigation and handed over the former star to the giblets. He was sentenced to 33 years in prison, with the right to parole after 9 years. Simpson disappeared from public life after his release in 1916. For most of America, he remained a murderer who did not repent and did not receive the punishment he deserved. Simpson has been in hospice care for the past few months due to his illness. The children did not turn away from their father, and he did not feel lonely for the last few days. Everything else will now be judged in other instances. Subscribe to Thrill of the Game, like or dislike, and comment. It is important for us to know your opinion.